Good morning, everybody. This is Amy Bennett with the AM Show. I'm actually going to jump right into what I want to talk about because, well, I'll just tell you this real quick. There was apparently some water main break or something in our city, and our water, we can't drink it. We have to boil it, and I don't want to do that, so I got to take the kids to the gas station to get some bottled water so they can have water to drink at school. So I'm supposed to hurry up. That's my kids are bossing me around. Hurry up so we can leave early. So that's what I'm gonna do. But there's something that I read this morning that I just really wanted to share, and it convicted me. I felt like I really got sort of like put in my place, and I get to share it with you. You know, not everything that God has to tell us is like, you know, I don't know. It's always not patting us on the back. You know, it's also keeping us straight, right? That's part of what it's about. But anyway, so let me just share real quick. I hope I can clearly communicate what I just felt convicted about. So here we go. Luke 17. Jesus is speaking to his disciples, and he's talking about, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it would be a lot of stuff to read to you. But Luke 17, he goes and he's talking about being careful not to sin, and then not to cause other people to sin. You know, this is where he's talking about it's better for a millstone to be tied around your neck than to cause a little one to sin. And then he's telling people, and he's telling his disciples to forgive, and forgive over and over again, even when it's hard. And the disciples go, how are we supposed to do that? That's so hard. And they say, increase our faith. And then Jesus says, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it will obey you. So he's talking about, he's telling them to do the things that are towards God's law, even when they're hard, and also to not cause other people to not do things that are bad, basically, say that more easy. And then he's saying do hard things, even like forgive somebody over and over and over again. And he says, if you have you don't have to have a lot of faith, you just need a little bit of faith. And then he says, and this is what I want to start reading, verse 7. He says, suppose one of you had a servant plowing or looking after the sheep. Would he say to the servant when he comes in from the field, come along now and sit down to eat? Would he rather not say, this is what he would say to a servant, prepare my supper, get yourself ready, and wait on me while I eat and drink. After that, you may eat and drink. And then he said, would he thank the servant because he did what he was told to do? And then he says to his disciples, so you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty. Okay? So he's talking about them doing hard things. They're saying, how are we supposed to do this? And he says, you don't need much faith. You just need a little bit of faith. And then he goes into this thing and say, oh, and by the way, when you do those things, don't expect a pat on the back. You know, remember, he says, remember, you should say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty. And that really put me in my place this morning, because I think that sometimes, you know, we talk about, and this is especially for me, I have a podcast called Feathers, Faith, and Flight, and we really build up and celebrate when people live a life of faith and they do the hard things and they have the faith to do them. And we want to pat them on the back, pat ourselves on the back when we do these things. And sometimes we look at people and we're like, wow, they have so much faith, like I could never do that. And I think what Jesus was saying to me today is, hey, remember, you're in a kingdom with a king, and your job, your duty is to do the will of the Lord. And you don't need that's what's expected. That's your duty. And you know, God, I mean, like, Jesus is a good king, and I think he, loves us well, and I think he does reward us. He will reward us in heaven no matter what. But I think we can kind of have this sense of entitlement, like, I'm doing something special because I'm doing things that are hard and things that require a lot of faith. And he says, you got this backwards. Like, you know, you are servants of the king. Like, I think about Jesus, who says, I'm just here to do the will of the Father. That was his thing. I'm just here to do the will of the Father. And so as we look back at these times where we've done things in obedience and with faith, I don't think we need to look at it like, oh wow, pat ourselves on the back, look what we did. I think we need to look like, yeah, I'm a Christian. That's what I'm supposed to do. I did the will of the Father, and that's what's expected of me. And I've done, like he says, we have only done our duty. And so I just felt like a lot of caution about like building people up when they've done the things of obedience and the thing of faith too much, because I just don't think it's, like you've done something like out of the ordinary, out of what you're supposed to do. Like, guys, we are here to do the will of the Father. We are here to do the will of the Father. And I think we need to make sure we don't have pride about the fact that we're doing the things that God has called us to do. I think it's like we, in humility, say, yeah, I did that because I'm his daughter, and he sacrificed everything for me. So of course I'm going to sacrifice everything for him. Like, that's my duty. Like, that's what I do in service. He calls us, I think Paul calls us, bond servants. We are willingly, a bond servant is a servant who chooses, after he's been released from his servitude, he has after he's been released from his servitude, he chooses to stay and serve his master. And that's what we are. We choose, because of what God has done for us, we choose to stay and do whatever God has called us to do. And as servants, we don't look at our master and say, yeah, pat me on the back, I'm so amazing, I actually did the thing that took the faith to do it. I actually forgave my brother 70 times. I actually, didn't, purposely didn't try to sin. I did, we don't need pats on the back for that. That's like what we're here for. We're in the kingdom. We're supposed to be doing the will of the Father. And that is to love people, to take care of orphans and widows and the poor, and to love the people around us. Like, that's our job. That's our duty. And we don't, so I don't know. I hope you get what I'm saying. I'm seeing some hearts and some praise hands. So I think you're getting what I'm saying. And it was very just convicting to me that, especially as I'm doing this podcast about people that are taking big leaps of faith, that I think we do celebrate it, and we encourage, and it's really about encouraging each other and saying, yeah, it's, even, we need encouragement even to do our duty, right? Doing your duty sometimes is really hard, and I think we need encouragement, and I think we need examples of women that are doing their duty, and we can say, hey, they're doing what they're supposed to do, I can do what I'm supposed to do. So I don't think it's wrong that we celebrate and listen to these stories of how women have taken leaps of faith and they're living a life of faith. Like, I don't think that's wrong, but I think we need to keep it in perspective that they really are just actually living the life they're supposed to live and what God is expecting of them. Like, I just keep going back to Jesus' words. I'm here to do the will of the Father. Like, and if you're having a hard time obeying, I want you to remember, you're here to do the will of the Father. Like, it's expected of you. It's your duty. It's not really, oh, am I going to sit and do this, or I'm not going to do this? It's like, yes, you're going to do it. That's what's expected of you. And I will say, God is so loving, and he's such a good master, and he calls you not just servant, but he calls you friend. And he's good, and I don't mean to make it like, he's a master. Like, do what he says. Like, he's a good master. He's a good master, and he walks with you as you do it. But I think we just need to check our heart check your heart. John Chris says that. Check your heart about our attitude as we do it. And as we've done it, we go, I don't need praise for that. I've done my duty. Okay, I think I've said what I needed to say, and I'm getting texts from my kids that we need to leave and go get those bottles of water. Things are going well here. I've got a busy day ahead of me. Yeah, so all good here. Hope you guys have a good Thursday. Thanks for joining. I want to say really good morning. Really quick good morning. Darian and Nancy, Sherry, Marie. Thank you for all the likes and the hearts this morning. Nancy said it's a wake-up call for me. Okay. Thank you, Lord. Praying for you as you do what God calls you to do. We can still encourage each other in that, right? We can still encourage each other. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining. I hate it when I miss it. So even if I only get to be on here for a few minutes, I would rather do that than nothing, because I love seeing your little faces in the morning. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. We'll see you back tomorrow. Bye.